Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we are going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for the upcoming full lunar eclipse that's occurring on November 8th, 2022. How's everyone doing out there? We just went through a major eclipse that occurred on October 25th, 2022, and we have about a 2-week window period before this next one comes in. So I would suggest, if you did not watch the video or listen to the podcast for the eclipse that occurred on October 25th, that was in the sign of Scorpio, I would have a listen to that, because that is going to sort of work in tandem with the energies of this upcoming eclipse that's occurring on the 8th of November in the sign of Taurus. So these energies are going to play out over the next 6 months to a year. So I would highly recommend having a in-depth understanding of how these energies could present. Of course, this is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading to look more closely at how these energies may be affecting you and your own numerology, book some time with me. I would love to work with you. Also, for this lunar eclipse that's occurring on the 8th, if you want to know how it will affect potentially your personal life path number from a collective standpoint, make sure that you watch the November forecast that I just posted recently. So those are on my podcast and on my YouTube channel. So watch for your number, and I dive a little bit more deeply into the individual life path numbers there. Okay, so anything else I want to mention before we get into this? I don't think so. Let's do it. All right, so as I mentioned, we're sort of we're on the heels of the most recent partial solar eclipse, again, that we just experienced on the 25th of October. And so now we have another powerful eclipse occurring on the 8th of November. A lot of potent energies assisting us in shaking loose what needs to go and ushering in the people, the places, and the things that are meant to be an important part of the next leg of our journey. So the more uncomfortable or the more charged something feels for us during this time, that sort of indicates the greater probability that is where we are going to see the greatest transformations and the greatest shifts over the course of the next 6 months to a year. So this energy, or these energies, are helping us to turn the ordinary into something extraordinary, while sort of letting our true nature take center stage and thrive. So this, of course, is all part of a greater storyline, but the roles of the people, the places, and the things that sort of enter or exit during this next scene are very important nonetheless. So welcome it all into your experience with open arms. Easier said than done, I know. And try to move through the energy without fighting it. And then at the end of the scene, you'll be giving yourself a standing ovation. You'll be so glad that this energy was able to move you into the direction it's trying to lead you, right? And that you went willingly as opposed to kicking and screaming. So for the full lunar eclipse, again, which is happening in the sign of Taurus, we will be feeling the influences of the 8 energy, the 16-7, and the 25-7 very, very strongly. These are very potent, very condensed energies. The 8 sort of puts the emphasis on all things physical. So think money, power, resources, status, internal strength and external strength, right? Like abuse of that strength. Leadership, business, and responsibility, personal, external, whatever, however that shows up. So we can see this play out as power struggles or balancing of power, finances, wealth secured, or losses when it comes to finances and wealth, resources shared, or hoarded or fought over, right? This can be a time where things get sort of ugly when it comes to shared resources, or resources that are meant to be shared that are being hoarded, or again, there's that imbalance of power. We can see that play out. We can see status changes, so demotions or promotions or both. People in leadership roles could be stepping up or stepping down at this time. And again, this can be occurring personally within our personal experience or on a more collective global stage. That's very, very possible at this time. So one thing to kind of keep in mind with this 8 energy and it being this sort of strongly, again, like condensed, the thing to keep in mind is where integrity is lacking within these highlighted areas, within these sort of more physical presentations, losses can be great, right? If it's lacking in integrity, then we can see great losses associated with these areas of our life, or again, collectively. On the flip side of that, where there is integrity or the intention to have integrity and build integrity behind these areas, we can see great rewards come in, right? We can see, again, strong financial rewards, balancing of power, shared resources, helping others in a very profound way. So again, and those actions, those intentions that building something greater will lead to a greater reward. And ultimately, this energy, this eclipse, if there is not integrity behind the action, then this energy is looking to dismantle whatever this is. And through that process, if anybody's gone through major transformations, they know that you have to go through the dismantling. You have to go through the chaos, the destruction of whatever that is. And that can be ugly. That can be chaotic. That can be very uncomfortable. And then from that rubble, you have to rebuild. So it's not a pretty process. It's not an easy process, but it's a necessary process. And so with this, the focus really being intensely highlighted on this 8 energy, those things that I mentioned are in the spotlight. And again, if there's integrity behind it, then, we won't notice much come in other than if it's time for things to come to fruition around whatever that is, the rewards to come in, the accolades, whatever, right? The success around those efforts. However, where there are the fault lines, where there is sort of the misuse of power, the misuse of resources, whatever, we can see some major decay there and some major abrupt changes come through with that, again, personally and on the global stage. And it's not necessarily a judgment if there's not integrity behind the action. Sometimes it's just mismanagement because of ignorance, like not knowing, right? Like not knowing better type thing. And so this energy comes in to say, well, this is the lesson, so you're meant to learn it. And so through that learning process, now we know better, we can do better, right? Let's see. What else do I want to say about that? Anything? No, I think I'm good. But this really, I would say, probably the most intense energy that we're working with is the power of the 8. And again, because it's such a physical energy, it's very much like, again, has like sort of dominion over the physical plane. We're going to see things play out in a very tangible physical way, right? Again, both personally and globally. So just kind of be prepared for that. There's a lot of like, with this numerology, not just with the 8, but as I continue to move through the reading, there's also a lot of Mars energy associated with this. So like Mars in astrology is the god of war. It's that strong like initiation energy. And so we could see things bubble to the surface or really escalate before they can de-escalate, right? So not to fearmonger or whatever. That's not the intention, but it's to bring the awareness that you may see things within your physical reality, again, sort of escalate in a really intense way before they can de-escalate, right? So before you can figure out the solution to help it to de-escalate, and then to dismantle whatever it is, if it needs to be dismantled, to rebuild, right? In a much healthier way. Okay. Now, the energy of the 16-7. So we've sort of been working with this energy for a while now. We've seen it pop up throughout some of the monthly forecasts. I believe it was also in the October 25th eclipse energy, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, 16-7 energy has been popping up all over the place the last couple of months. This is where we sort of see that Mars energy come through. This brings the opportunity for major awakenings, major shifts and changes, and unexpected or expected upheavals in the areas of our lives that need this kind of drastic sort of shove in a different direction. This is an energy where avoidance is no longer an option. It's just not gonna cut it. It's kind of like that energy where it's like you can run, but you can't hide type thing. This energy will find you. It will bring things to light. It will make you face things that you need to face. Now, what you do with that is entirely up to you. But there's not going to be really any denying what it is that you need to know or gather from this experience, right? And again, this is sort of playing out over the next 6 to 12 months. So it could be a slow burn to help you to pay attention to whatever this is that needs adjustment or needs, to be looked at and not avoided, and not avoided. So you'll either find a way to move with this energy, or it will move you. It will move you. It will find a way. This is like divine intervention. This is like tower energy. It's kind of like when you're reading tarot and the tower energy comes up and you're like, oh shit, like let me pull again, right? Like pull another card, and then the same card kind of like reemphasizes the tower energy, and you're like, okay, there's something coming here that I need to be aware of, and the universe is going to make sure that I'm aware of it. Again, whatever we choose to do with it will ultimately make the difference, but this energy sort of comes in and makes it very uncomfortable to ignore whatever it is that we're being asked to see and do something about. So where this energy sort of hits us the hardest, that is where we sort of needed to make significant changes or course corrects, but we kept avoiding it or finding ways to change the subject and look away, right? We didn't want to face whatever this is, or we didn't want to see it, or we didn't feel worthy of whatever this is, or we didn't, feel like, again, like we deserved it. And that's the other thing too. A lot of times we think about these like awakenings and, difficult situations coming in, and they're, we just forget that sometimes it can be a realization that we are self-sabotaging ourselves and avoiding something that could be really, really good for us, and like that we actually do deserve, but it scares us because it's something we haven't experienced before. And so, and for whatever reason, through conditioning or traumas or whatever, we don't feel worthy of it. And so this energy can be very uncomfortable, but incredibly beautiful in coming in, and whether it brings people, places, things that help to emphasize how we're worthy of whatever this is, whether it's like love or abundance or whatever. And so it keeps putting it in front of us to say, this keeps showing up. Why do you keep avoiding it, right? Like you are worthy of whatever this is. And so it's very possible that those themes can show up for you if there's areas in your life that you have been, again, sort of avoiding because you just don't feel worthy of whatever it is. Same thing with, if we look at like money, again, abundance. If you don't feel worthy of it, it can present itself in a myriad of ways, but you're going to continue to bypass it. You're going to continue to push it away or lock it out. And so until you awaken to your worthiness of whatever that is. And so this energy, the 16-7, it doesn't just have to be about people falling away or things falling away or, or major losses. It can really be awakening to the things that keep showing up that we keep pushing away, that because we don't feel worthy, or we don't, again, like we just don't feel like we deserve it. And so the realization comes in, this keeps coming to my doorstep and I really think I would enjoy it, but why do I keep pushing it away? And then we sort of dive a little bit deeper to kind of look at that. And yeah, once we can kind of stop bypassing it and address it and explore it, it opens up so many doors for us, right? It's this major awakening. And so this energy can be very good for that as well. So basically with 16-7 energy, this energy is going to keep putting whatever this is in front of us until it becomes so uncomfortable that we make a move. We do something about it, right? Again, whether it's like, okay, well, this $1 million keeps showing up and even though I don't feel worthy of it, I'm like stuck in this lack mentality. I'm just going to explore and see like what I can do with it, and then it's through that exploration we're like, this kind of feels good. And how can I circulate this energy? And how can I like work with it? And how can I, and then we start to build that sort of trust and that understanding that, yeah, hey, we are worthy of whatever. That's a big example, but you know what I'm trying to say. So this is going to be more sort of lightning bolt from above energy to bring about this much needed awareness, sort of to the true nature of ourselves. This energy of the 16 assists us in moving from the grip of fear to the liberation of enlightenment within our own experience. This doesn't have really anything to do with, at the core, it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else other than self. These realizations, these awakening moments, right? Because it's through our own awakening, our own enlightenment, our own understanding of self, that we then change our actions and how we move through our experiences, which has the ripple effect into the collective, right? So it's all tied in together. Pay attention to any debilitating ideas, any debilitating thoughts. And I talked about that a little bit just a minute ago. But this is a time when, and again, I would say like over the next 6 months to a year, where debilitating ideas can now be replaced by sort of true understanding, creating this like explosive illumination and the confidence and the shift and the move towards the desires of our soul, our true source. So this can be incredibly uncomfortable. Sometimes this energy can bring in or create a crisis of sorts or a feeling of crisis. However, it's through this sort of crisis experience that we're able to have that phoenix rising from the ashes moment, or the kick in the ass that we needed to once again level up and get more aligned with our true nature beyond the fears, right? And beyond the years of conditioning. Okay, and so with the illumination of the 25-7, this can bring in heightened intuitiveness, clairvoyance, and prophetic dreams. There is a very strong connection with this energy to that which is unseen but felt. So for those that are sort of open to developing these qualities, this can be a great time to do so. Many times this is often done through, again, like overcoming difficult situations and challenges. The process of overcoming connects us more deeply to our inner strength, our resilience, and ultimately our own inner knowing. So then we learn how to first and foremost trust ourselves and what we feel over what we can logically see and understand. So this helps to, again, ground us when the chaos of the world doesn't make sense or doesn't match the feeling, right? When it comes to our own personal journey. So we can then take action from that inner knowing and create something tangible within the physical that is much more aligned with the truth of who we are. So With this energy, it can be easy to become sort of overly impulsive, and I would say plan accordingly before you leap. We can't ignore the reality of a current situation, and sometimes impulsivity can turn already challenging situations into unnecessary and unfortunate conflict, right? And we can kind of see that playing out on the global stage, and has been for a while. So I would say receive the downloads with this energy, plan your course of action, and then pace yourself while holding the vision. So you may intuitively know the truth of a situation as it pertains to you, but that doesn't mean that the physical reality is there yet, right? And that's going to be probably a process. So pay attention to where you might get a download and then you just want to take immediate action. There's like that charge. Pace yourself. Just understand that, through the ether, through the unseen, through the more psychic realms, that information is very fast moving. It can come in really quickly. We can get downloads. It can feel very charged. It can feel like electricity coming through us, right? And we, of course, in our physical reality, want to take action from that very quickly and see quick results and all of that. And so we can, again, through maybe not intentionally, we can sort of sabotage a situation or create more of a charge in the physical reality than the physical reality can handle. And then it just creates conflict. So just pace yourself, just come up with a plan, and then move towards that plan at a steady pace. Okay. With this 25/7 energy, some health concerns could surface at this time to be addressed. So don't ignore anything that comes into your awareness or keeps coming into your awareness now. It might be something that has been sort of popping its head up every now and then and say like, hey, I'm here, pay attention to me. But we've been busy and we don't pay attention to it. And you might see that kind of come to a head now. So definitely pay attention to any health concerns that show up for you holistically. So body, mind, spirit, and definitely address those concerns now. And seek the help that you need, whatever is appropriate for you. Because it's very possible to, under this energy, find solutions for those ailments, right? And again, it can take time, but you will feel like you are on the road to recovery, right? You will feel like you are on the right path, right? But you have to take the initiative. You have to go and get it seen or dealt with or whatever. And again, however that works for you. Pay extra attention to your mental energy and thoughts now. Are your thoughts creating irrational fears that are keeping you stuck? The more you can focus your energy into changing any unhealthy thought patterns now, and the more you can sort of visualize what you want and all the ways that you are already capable in this moment to begin making that vision a reality, then the more positive and constructive results you'll see, and the eventual change in those unhealthy thought patterns will occur. So our thoughts are the stories that we tell ourselves, the irrational fears, that all needs to be dealt with at this time. I say all, right? Like that's a big ask, but if something surfaces, right? Like if you have this fear pattern, this irrational fear pattern that continues to surface, or again, something keeps coming to light around your thoughts, your belief systems that are holding you back, that are forcing you to sort of self-sabotage, this is the time to do something about that, to not listen to them anymore, to change the dialogue with yourself. So I wouldn't say that you need to go digging to find those, unhealthy patterns or those unhealthy thought processes or whatever. The point is what comes up for you at this time, what surfaces, what other people trigger within you. That's where the focus needs to be. It's coming up for a reason. And this is the perfect opportunity under this 25/7 energy to really work with it. So the energy of the 25/7 is also one that promises sort of great success and rewards, but it's only after the perseverance and only after sort of overcoming the necessary difficulties in order to claim our much deserved rewards, right? So hold the vision, keep going. And again, really pay attention to the thoughts, right? Like the stories that you tell yourself. And again, the irrational fears, because that's really what ultimately, when it comes down to it, keeps us stuck, right? Like, because anything that presents itself in the external, if it presents itself to us, that means that we have the capability of overcoming it. We may have to pull resources in, we may have to ask for help, whatever. But if it presents itself to us, unless it's death itself, right, then we transcend and move on. But anything that presents itself to us, no matter how challenging, we are capable of overcoming it and extracting the wisdom from it. And you can tell that that is true just by looking over the span of your lifetime and the things that presented and how you overcame them, even if they were the most challenging things you've ever experienced. So ultimately, the only thing that keeps us truly, truly stuck is our irrational fear, our fear of doing something, taking the initiative, holding the vision, making it happen, believing that we are worth or valued or worthy of something, right? Something greater than what we are currently experiencing. All of these things. So this 25/7, especially this 25/7 energy, is sort of putting the pressure on the mindset, the irrational fears, again, where we hold ourselves back, where we keep ourselves restricted, in a self-imposed prison that we don't need to be in. So this energy is really going to help us to move beyond that. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It is probably going to feel really, really uncomfortable to do that. But it's through that uncomfortableness that, guess what? We grow, right? That we're able to overcome the challenge because, I don't know who said it. And of course the old adage is like, it's through the uncomfortableness that growth happens. It doesn't happen in the comfort zone. And that's so true. So these eclipses are really like picking us up and throwing us outside of our comfort zone in a big way, right? Wherever it is that we need it, wherever it is that we need that, again, kick in the ass. So yeah, this eclipse in Taurus, similar to the eclipse in Scorpio, promises to bring the A game when it comes to much needed shifts and transformation in areas of our lives and globally where we were consciously or subconsciously self-sabotaging ourselves. So more of the same just isn't going to cut it anymore. And the energies of these eclipses are sort of assisting us in leveling up and stepping further into our own alignment, as well as greater alignment with one another and the collective. So very much assisting energy, but not comfortable, more than likely. All right, everyone, best of luck to you. I'm right there with you. So take care. Bye for now.